Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on Tube, or welcome back if you are a High School Musical fanatic and you've seen the title of this video. And yes, you have come to the right place. I am reviewing this week High School Musical 2. But before I get to that, a little bit of context, a little bit behind the scenes story about me. I have already done a review of the first High School Musical that I posted, I believe, 3 months ago, around that time period. I don't exactly remember. I know it was in between before I started up the Katie Clean episode reviews. But I did make a promise that I was going to continue the series at some point in the near future, and since we're in the in-between zone between our next review series, and so you know what, let's cap up the High School Musical trilogy here. We're going to do 2 and 3, so next week will be 3, just to kind of wrap it up. And also, if you also are curious about my High School Musical background, I also reviewed the entirety of the first season of High School Musical, the series. So I've already been an aficionado in the world of the High School Musical, and I'm excited. I mean, the movies have always been like my guilty pleasure. I don't think I've ever publicly spoken out that I really, really, really love the movies. And it's going to be a little bit baffling to say this, and I'll jump ahead a little bit more, is that High School Musical 2 I saw first before the first one. Which is kind of weird to say because, well, the first one came out when I was a kid, so I was around 8 or 9 years old. And seeing the commercials for it, the promos, I was like, this is just it's too girly for me. I'm gonna drop out. Then the trailers for the second one started to come out, and I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll actually stick around for this one. And then I decided to watch the second one, and oh my god, it was so good. So good as a kid. Now rewatching it, some things have not aged so well. Some things are a little bit more cringier than what I remembered, and yeah, I guess we'll have to go through it from there. So, and also, it was a blast either way to see the sequel again, for the first time in like, I know I said I rewatched it before I did the series review. So even like, but even that 8-month context, you know, I was already being enamored by the show. That the movies didn't really like, it couldn't stand out of my mind because I had to keep thinking of the characters from the show. So watching this without any like pressure about, oh, season 2's still a ways away, as well as this is not going to be adapted for season 2. It's going to be Beauty and the Beast. But anyway, High School Musical 2. Let's get down to it. Let's get down to it. My overall re-impressions of this when I was a kid, I loved this movie so much. The music, I think that was one of the very first movies that I actually fell in love with the music. I never sang to these songs, but I did remember I did a lot of dancing during that time period. So I will admit that. And now moving on to, I'm 22 years old, about to be 23 years old, watching it. It's ironic. Like, I never watched this movie when I was in high school. I watched this movie when I was a kid, and now I'm rewatching this movie as an adult. So having the life knowledge of how high school actually worked and such definitely puts more things of this movie and also its predecessor and its eventual successor, as I'll review hopefully next week, into more perspective, as I'm now very well aware of how high school normally works. And I don't know why was high school always filled it was always filled with tall people and musicals and very attractive looking people that are not me. Alright, so, but as for my re-impressions, I still very much enjoyed this movie. I am very saddened to admit that there were more cringy moments, at least for me personally. Again, this is all my own review, my own opinion of the movie, so if you are a little bit against what I'm saying, please bear with me. It is my opinion. I have my own critiques for when I'm being cringy or when I'm being cringed by something that I'm watching. And this movie has a fair amount of moments like that. I feel like a good amount of the second half for me was cringy because it falls into stereotypical teenager, antics that just baffle me. And, I understand that teenagers are still learning, to be adults. They're not making the best decisions in the world. But I don't know, like, I know this is like it's a worthy sequel, but also it kind of still baffles my head a little bit, but let's get down to it. So I'm going to do a very, 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 very butchered recap, a very more quickly recap, because this is a movie. It's a 2-hour feature. I can't recap the entirety of this movie, which I probably will by the end of it, but anyway, let's get down to it. So we pick up the movie, I believe, 4 to 5 months after the events of the first one. We get a little a reminiscence of the first movie. We get to see the school's interiors, the stage, the basketball game, literally in the exact same conditions we last saw them at the end of the last movie. So it was a pretty neat touch to kind of like transition the audience back into this world after, I believe, almost a year and a half since the last one came out. So it's been a while since in between sequels, well, in between movies. And we cut to our East High crew in Mrs. Darbus's class as she's reminiscing about her summertime exploits, or she's about to, which, no offense, Miss Darbus doesn't get enough love. I know she has a very minor role in this movie. She's only in this one scene. But even for a teacher, do you really think you want to start, and do you really think anyone's going to stay around to listen to your summertime antics literally minutes before the bell goes out? I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, I was kind of a teacher's pet in school. Even I wouldn't have that done. As soon as the bells are ringing, I'm out of here. Summertime, baby. And that's literally what these guys do. So they kick into the first song, What Time Is It? Which honestly is probably one of the best ways for you. Out of the High School Musical trio, I think this was the best way to begin this adventure where, not this adventure, this movie. I feel like this is the best song to start it off. I still upon the fact that all these kids are like all in synchronized dancing as they're trying to leave the school. And it's kind of weird. It's like, so if classes are out, but they don't immediately leave school, they're like everyone's still in school. But I'll get to that in a minute. So it was a pretty cool song and dance. But it was, I think, out of the three, and this is a spoilers for next week. I still think 2 had a much better opening than 3, but I'll explain more about that next week. So after that, we cut into like what are the motivations behind these characters this time around. Everyone's morely focused on getting a summer job, making some money, because that's what all teenagers want to do. They want to work during the summer, which ironically I never worked in the summer because no place wanted to hire me. So that was quite hilarious, given how that worked out. But the priority is, of course, obviously our centered duo, Troy and Gabriella. This is the first summer Gabriella is able to spend in one location. As usually, as soon as the school year's over, she's usually heading off to the next location with her mom and awaiting the next school year to start up. So she's never been really stationary in one place for a while. So this is her first summer doing that, as well as being with Troy. This is setting up for her to be it has to be one of her best summers that she wants to remember for a very long time. And, with everything going on, we're still like, even though the first movie kind of wrapped things up in a loose end, they kind of really just like, we had to leave things a little bit minorly open. Obviously, as we see Sharpay once again pining for Troy, she still believes, even after everything we saw in the first movie, that that they think they should belong together, and that the whole phrase, summer can change everything, which, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, for me, I kind of lost a good amount of my weight during the summer, so I guess she's right on the margin. I don't know. I really don't know. And so that's kind of her motivation. Sadly, Chad and Monique are... Wait, is it Monique? Is it Monique? Oh, god damn it. I feel so sorry. Like, it's like you get so enamored in Troy and Gabriella's story and hearing Sharpay and Ryan for like so long. It's like you completely forgot. I think it is Monique. Yeah. So they're kind of relegated this time around. They're there. I'm not saying they're not as important, but it's just that they're usually like in part of like the big numbers and such like that. But I don't really see them coming more forth in this movie, in my opinion, of course. Maybe I could change it because my mind doesn't work. I literally rewatched this movie last night, and it was like 1 a.m. in the morning, so I apologize if my brain isn't that 100%. Okay, so from there, it's just pretty much solidifying to the point that Troy and Gabriella wants to have the best summer of their lives together as a couple, as well as trying to find a job. Sharpay is trying to do everything she can to try and break them up and, be with Troy somehow. We're slowly starting to begin that Ryan is having enough of her bullshit. You can sort of see, even in the beginning of the movie, like, I am not having this whatsoever. And then every East Side student literally in synchronized, like, okay, we're on the margin here, people. You got to come out so we can finish off the quick reprise of this song. So they do that. We cut to a little bit later where the boys of the movie are doing a quick basketball exercise, even though they're done with school. So I don't know why they're doing that, but anyway. Troy gets a call from a mysterious person potentially offering him a job. He's immediately trying to get Gabriella in for the job as well. The boys are teasing him because, with the whole, like, he has a girlfriend and such. Like, oh my god, like, come on, guys. Grow up a little bit. I know this was 2007, but come on. Anyway, where do we go from here? I legitimately do not remember where we go from here. I think, oh yeah. So we didn't have a very open transition to the main location for this movie, which is at Lava Springs, which actually is a real life resort, which you can go to, but not right now because of the pandemic and everything. But it is a real place. It's not a set they built. They actually use an actual building for this. So we see the Evans heading off, the Evans siblings heading all over. Pretty much this is their kingdom. Like, this is their summer retreat zone. They basically live here when summer vacation's on. And we get to see, like, you know, when we go to East High, obviously Sharpay always makes a joke that East High is her place. This is obviously her kingdom. Her family owns the entire resort. So basically she's in charge. She's in charge of this whole thing. So basically when she shows up, she immediately takes control. Oh god, I literally had to remember his name for like the entire day, and I can't remember I forgot his name. The manager dude, the one with the gray hair. Oh my god, I forgot his name. Like, it was literally pounded in my head since last night, and I cannot remember. I got on, but we slowly start to see this, and then we get to the like the famous Sharpay solo, one of her famous solo songs, which is "Fabulous," which. Call me blasphemy. I'm not a fan. Like, I'm really not a fan. I'm sorry. The solo Sharpay songs, and I'm very well aware she has her own solo movie. I'm just not a fan of them. I'm so sorry. Like, she is a decent amount of a character to enjoy at a time, but when it comes to her songs, oh man, I just can't. Like, her. Like, okay, let me set this aside. Let me get the point here straight. I think Ashley Tisdale is an amazing singer. I just do not like these songs. I don't know why about them. It just makes her feel like a drama queen. I'm sorry, I had to put it out there. I'm sorry, but let's move on. But as she's closing up the song, Troy comes in, assuming that, oh my god, her plan is working. She has Troy here. She has the entire summer to win over Troy. Until she realizes, A, he has the rest of his team with him, and B, Gabrielle is the new lifeguard. So basically, nothing really works out. Nothing's working out. It turns out this is pretty much East High 2.0 now that they're here. She's not happy, clearly. She talks to everyone, her manager, the manager, as well as her mom, and said that the only reason they accepted it because she literally said, accept them, get Troy here, no matter the cost. Even if that does... Here's the thing I don't understand about Troy. I don't understand about this movie, is that I don't remember there being a summer location, and I could be wrong here. I mean, considering that I've applied to many summer jobs in my lifetime, I could be wrong in this factor, but I don't imagine there being a place where they basically hire like 20 plus high school students in one go around in like one fell swoop. Like, here's this very popular teenager who wants to gives jobs to his girlfriend, his best friends, and basically and a bunch of other dancing extras for the entire summer. I mean, all the irony of it. But yeah, so basically everyone of importance and everyone who can dance are now working here at Lava Springs, and obviously Sharpay is furious, so to speak. But then she returns back to the manager, saying, "Hey, listen, if you can't fire them, make them quit. Somehow be the worst manager." And here's the thing that I really feel for this guy. Like, this guy is a very convincing... He can be a dick of a manager. But when we saw him in the beginning of the movie, I don't know. I had this vibe from him that he was a really good guy. And now he was kind of being forced to be this asshole to everyone else. But we do get to see some moments of, like, he does have a good side of it. But anyway, moving on. We cue to the Wildcats back in the kitchen. They're kind of getting their assignments in order, trying to get their feet in the works here. And obviously, some of them, they don't like their jobs. And again, this is another adult moment here, I mean, that I'm a little bit baffled about, is that here's the thing. It's a job. You're getting paid at least a decent amount of the salary to get stuff that you want to get. So I don't get why these guys are complaining. I mean, if I had a summer job in high school, I would have been, if it was like $7 an hour, I would have taken it. That would have been way more money than I would have had in high school. So I would have done anything to get that money. And considering the fact you're surrounded by your friends, I mean, come on, man, it's a dream job. But obviously, you know, Chad and everyone else are kind of like, oh man, this is not a good idea. Maybe, you know, this is not the best, you know, thing to do. As everyone's getting their assignments, the manager's starting to become more of a dick to everyone, starting to kind of like restrict them to what they really want to do. And again, remember, this is just a job. It's a summer job. It's not meant to be part of your career. So I understand these are teenagers. They are kind of like more expecting of more when they were back in high school. But this isn't high school. This is literally a taste of the real world. But anywho, thanks to Troy, they managed to do another song. We got to work this out to kind of like get everyone's like. It's ironic how it takes one song. And boom, the entire scenario is changed. Like, okay, we're good. We're good to work 2 months here in this probably a hellhole of a job, which they will soon see eventually. And then, yeah, I forgot where we go from here. I think we see Troy and Gabrielle having a date in on the golf grounds. Which again, I don't understand how you can even do that if it's an active golf field. I mean, why would you even have a picnic here? I mean, I know it's a romantic feat. And they're just trying to reevaluate the point that, hey, this is a special summer. We should try our best to make it as enjoyable as we can. Troy's agreeing with it, and also we get a some brief like hints to where the third one's going to go in terms of like the future and such. And Troy wanting to be in charge of his own future, but since now they're like heading more and more close to the senior year and then to college and the graduation, it's starting to become a much more clear picture. This is approaching very soon. And then they get into trouble with the manager because they were obviously, on restricted grounds, but that's obvious. And yeah, I still don't remember what the order of events. I'm pretty sure we get some sort of sharp-paced scheme where she's trying to get the talent show is literally her. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's a whole talent show. Like, of course, we need some excuse to get like a big musical ending. There's a talent show that Lava Springs hosts every year. Sharpay and Ryan usually win. And so Sharpay, this is literally like, her losing her control over Lava Springs with all these high Wildcats there now. She at least needs to maintain control over it. And since Troy is kind of like now like surrounded by his peers and friends, she needs to find a way to get him over to do a performance with her. But then anyway, the next song, which oh my god, this was one of the best songs in the whole movie. Where we see Troy and Gabriella kind of still being happy after that rough day with the manager. Heading over to Kelsey, playing a brand new song, and which is "You Are the Music with Me," and oh my god, I mean, between this and Every Day, I mean, oh my god, those were one of the two best romantic songs I've ever heard in this movie at the time period. I know 3 has more of them. I'm just saying, at the moments like you feel like, and obviously the actors were actually dating in real life, so you actually felt the emotions, you felt their performances coming through with the characters, and it was just it was so awesome to see that. And it was like, I know I was only like 8 or 9 when I saw this movie, but goddamn, it made me want that true love feeling. And which, spoilers, I haven't had that yet, but it really was probably one of the best moments in the movie. And there was some hesitation with Troy because like once again he was kind of like, oh no, kind of don't want to do this because like that whole like winter musicale performance thing was kind of like a one-time experience. But after singing that song and getting like this is like, it's usually like these romantic songs between the two of them that really just tell Troy like, yeah, I love doing this, doing musical, I love doing the plays, I love doing performing. So getting to see that and agreeing to like, we're gonna do this all together, a group thing, get it all worked out, was actually pretty nice and sweet. But of course Sharpay gets wind of this. Obviously she's not a fan, so now she has to begin Operation Separate Troy from the Others, which I know is a horrible operation name, but hey, I'm on the fly here. I can't come up with my catchy names here. Come on, you can't expect me to come up with creative gold every time. I don't got a screenwriter or anything. I like Mr. George. Where do we go from here? Yeah, so to kind of start beginning the seeds of like separation, Sharpay invites, she wants Troy and by bequeath, Chad to be the golf caddies for her and her family, and we get to meet the mama and the papa of the Evans. Not what I expected, but also kind of what you expected from two people who are fairly rich and kind of, self-entitled. Sorry about that. So it was kind of sweet. It was kind of weird, like Sharpay kind of like wanted Troy to kind of like, it's kind of like a meeting of the parents moment when you have a girlfriend, even though these two are clearly not dating. And Troy's trying to be a nice student, trying not to like blow up in front of her face. Plus they are the owners, so he can't really like, be as aggressive, so to speak. But then, however, Sharpay mentions Troy's going to be in the basketball, wants to be in basketball, wants to go to UA, not high school, not I'm a Hero Academia, like, the University of Albuquerque, be part of the Red Hawks, and since her dad has some connections to that team. He organizes a dinner to kind of like get Troy acquainted with those people to kind of get those connections going. And at first, we don't get to see the separation process yet. As Troy's still trying to make dates with Gabriella. Even during the dinner, he has some other Wildcats, like, attending them as servants, as, waiters and, such. And he's trying to get them included into this conversation, but, Sharpay and the others, like, trying to, like, no, it's only for you. This opportunity is only for you. And honestly, at first it's a dick move because of Sharpay, but then as soon as Troy starts doing it, it's like, oh man, this is not looking good. It's like when poor people get money for the first time, and they have that taste of like becoming rich. It's like, oh god, what was I living? Like, I want this now. Sorry if I sound like a crazy crazy maniac. And then we get to the one song in the movie, which I kid you not, I'm so sorry to say, I think this is where we for me personally, I start getting into the more cringy stuff. I'm so sorry to say, where we get to see the Haku Mama Be that song, the song that was deleted in the original version, the televised premiere, and then they had we have an extended edition where we have brand new scenes, which was basically a brand new musical number that they cut from the movie. It's like, you should have kept this cut out of the movie. I'm sorry. This was probably the worst scene in High School Musical history. I'm sorry. Even Troy's reaction to the whole thing. That is what I was feeling. It's like, I'm sorry. I know I'm not trying to be a Sharpay hater, but like, I do not like this moment at all in the movie. I do not. I think this moment was unnecessary. I just didn't like the song. I'm sorry. I mean, maybe you'll get a chuckle or two if you're watching it for the first time, but now watching this as an adult, I'm just not a fan. I'm sorry. I was just not a fan of this scene, and oh my god, I feel so sorry for Troy. But anyway, despite all the distractions and such, Troy gets to Gabriella. They have a very romantic moment by the pool, but they get caught by the manager dude, and he gets another strike on his worker ID or status or something. I don't know how they described it, and. Also, we get like a little bonding moment scene between Troy and his dad. Yeah, pretty much all the supporting characters from the first movie are kind of like relegated to background characters this time around because they got to focus more on the new cast, on the new stuff. It was a nice, sweet father-son bonding moment, fixing this old beat-up truck, and Troy getting that truck after they're done, finishing repairing it. It was actually quite a nice moment. And then I believe. Yeah, the next day, Troy gets offered the position to be a golf trainer, a junior golf trainer, as well as to kind of, again, separate him from the rest of the team, give him this privileged status, as well as give Sharpay more of an exclusive access to him to kind of like continue the leads. And everyone else is starting to know, is like, yeah, Sharpay's trying to do something here, but Troy's, kind of being oblivious to it, considering the fact that all the Red Hawks' attention's really like getting to his head. And then he gets invited to a luncheon, and then after that he gets invited to actually play at the arena where they play at. And Troy's getting everything he wants, but everyone else is starting to notice that, okay, this isn't turning out how things are supposed to go. As Troy's is ditching them more, especially Gabriella and stuff like that. That also Sharpay kind of dumped Ryan as her partner because Sharpay's priority number one for Sharpay. Be Sharpay, always win and get Troy. That's basically her three priorities, and so far she's on the money with that. And Ryan was kind of like being a footstool in his way. So sadly, Ryan gets shut to the curb. It is quite unfortunate. You do get to see the change in Troy's personality as like we get through more of the middle section, and considering the fact that everyone is now down one of their own. Ryan being alone as well, they kind of like, hey Ryan, you want to come join us for this impromptu baseball game that was. Probably totally not planned at all, and they're clearly allowed to use the baseball arena during breaks and such. Sure, and also this was a pretty decent song. The "I Don't Dance." I remember there was this thing after the movie came out where we got other baseball players from other countries, just basically baseball players, like well-known ones, like participating, just saying "I Don't Dance" as kind of like a promotional reel for probably one of the re-airings for the movie. And it was a nice touch. I really liked this. This was also Ryan's kind of his introduction, his kind of like entry into the rest of the Wildcats. So we kind of like switch roles here. Troy became part of where Ryan was, and Ryan kind of became part of where Troy was. And this is kind of where I'm kind of not against. There was like the moment where Ryan and Gabriella were kind of like dancing and mildly flirting, I guess. I know they're like Gabriella's not the cheating type, but for me, even as a viewer, it's like, hell no, what are you doing? You can't be like dancing with him. I know that kind of sounds like a jealous boyfriend type thing, but even, I mean, you're not supposed to really do those sort of things when you have a boyfriend. I'm sorry to say, that's just my personal professional opinion, even though I'm not really a professional. And yeah, when Troy sees it, it does kind of bother him a little bit since, like, I know things haven't been, great, but still, I mean, you know what I mean. And then I think the next day we get the typical, like, Troy losing his mojo, not doing well in basketball as he should have. And then also seeing the Wildcats practicing the dance rehearsal with Ryan instead of him, as well as we get another scene where Sharpay basically takes over the "You Are the Music with Me" with Troy. It's like, yeah, that moment proves, it backs up what I said before, is that the reason why the original version, the LP version, is the best is because you feel the emotion behind the voice. You feel they're pouring their love out, using their hearts to sing that song. And then when we see Sharpay and Troy do it, it's like, clearly this isn't meant to be, because, like, Troy doesn't give a fuck because he has no emotion towards her. And Sharpay's just, she's not hitting the right vocal cues that the song needs to do. She's just making it the Sharpay version. So it's like, this is another example why it just doesn't work in this case, and also another reason why I don't like her singing in this movie. And then after that, I think we get a moment where it's like Sharpay, the final cough in the head, because, like, even though she has Troy, the other Wildcats are doing something, and that could still risk her chance of winning, which again was one of her 3 priorities. So she decides to force the manager, hey, listen, don't let the workers, perform. Let them work the whole night. No performo for the workers. Obviously, and then the workers no, not yet. I think it's. No, they got an early access to it, to the news, and that was kind of the last thing to kind of push Gabriella over the edge. Like, hey, listen, I'm not liking this place. This isn't for me. You already took Troy away. You're trying to shut the workers out of the performance. Like, you're just basically against us. And Sharpay's basically trying to guilt rid her on the fact that she's kind of pushing Troy away from his dreams, that all she wants to do is just have a great summer where Troy is getting the opportunities he needs to get into the college of his dreams, and such to speak. And then Gabriella eventually decides, okay, you know what, I'm just going to quit. I'm going to quit. And then thankfully Troy catches wind of this. He tries to stop her, but she's kind of dead set of like, this summer has not been what we originally planned because of us being here, so I think it's best for me to leave. And also, this is kind of like they broke up or something. This is kind of like their breakup song. And this is, again, another powerful song because it's all about the emotion. Like, you got to put emotion and your heart into a song for it to really resonate with the viewer, with the listeners. And hearing Gabriella, like, speak to her heart, like, right now she is not having the best time. Like, this was supposed to be her best summer ever, and so far she's having the worst summer ever. And, having to let go of Troy because, he still has that connection with the issues she's been having isn't good for her. And, having her, also, another thing I forgot is that Troy gave her a necklace at the start of the movie to kind of symbolize that, she is his girl, so to speak. So giving that back was kind of like a wake-up call that Troy needed, like, hey, maybe I haven't been making the right decisions lately. And then we cut to the next morning where Troy gets the official win that the workers aren't allowed to work. And we get to see the very infamous bet on it thing, which I think the Sharpay Hakuna Akipiki Boo song is the worst song in the movie, or just of the entire franchise, in my opinion. This song, I think, was just so weirdly made and choreographed. I'm sorry. It's just like, I don't know why, the Gabriella solo songs are usually the better ones, but when it comes to Troy, I mean, at least in this movie, this song just did not sell it for me. Like, it just felt cringy at moments where just, I think the one we'll see in the next one is much better, which I'll talk about next time. That kind of was, this one was really, it was kind of like the wake up thing he needed to, like, I've been making mistakes and I gotta fix this ASAP. So he immediately goes to Sharpay, tells her, I demoted myself back to kitchen duty. I stripped myself of the membership privileges. I'm not going to perform with you. Basically telling Sharpay, you lost everything. You lost it. You lost me. And she's obviously, Sharpay's clearly not happy since, like, she had everything, and then now she's starting to lose everything, and she doesn't like that at all. And then I think we get the scene where, no, there's another interstitial scene here, but I'm just forgetting where it was. Where I think we just cut to that night at the dance, where we do manage to get, no, Troy manages to, he changes his tune, he will perform with Sharpay, under the condition that the workers, his fellow Wildcats, are able to perform to, which Sharpay sadly has to, accept. Also, we do get a makeup scene between Troy and the others, so that was pretty touching. As well as Troy gives them the green light, like, hey, you guys get to perform. They inform, oh, hey, we wrote an entirely new song for you. And clearly you're telling him this now, like minutes before he's supposed to perform. I gotta say this, Troy, obviously best, he has the best memory that I've ever seen. Like, he literally just reads off the page and can literally remember it just like that. Like, he literally listened to a song, performed it one time, and he was able to do an amazing performance. In like minutes. In a 20-minute interval, he went from learning the song to successfully mastering the song like that. He's just mastering songs like counter work, like clock paper, or like clockwork or something. I'm sorry, I'm getting my analogies mixed up. And the way they choreographed this sequence, where we see Troy kind of uncertain, because like, again, he's still at this moment still thinking he's gonna sing with Sharpay, as well as he's still like, he's nervous about like, well, I just learned this song like 5 minutes ago and have to sing it with her, and this is kind of a romantic song, so I'm not sure he's comfortable yet on if he's going to be able to perform the song to the best of his abilities. And then when he realizes that no, it is Gabriella who's singing it, because another thing that Sharpay wasn't going to show up because Ryan tells her at the very last minute, like, hey, the song has been switched. You don't know the new song at all, so you can't perform. Basically, another fuck you to Sharpay for the whole movie, which was thankfully accepted and, rightfully so. But anyway, to come back to the romantic moment where Gabrielle kind of returns and performs the song with Troy, which is like kind of like movie 101, like, just ironically the female love interest, or the female, or like the other partner in this like romantic moment conveniently shows up just at the right moment in order to like make the scene happen. But either way, I love this scene. Like, just seeing again them performing their hearts out, and it just goes to show that these two have love for each other, and they were able to like convey that in the song. And then getting to see the Wildcats perform it for the first time, like an actual proper like everyone's here moment. Even bringing in the Evans into it was like, this was a really good moment. This was a really great moment. And also kind of like another growing up moment for Sharpay, like giving the trophy, the award to Ryan at the end of it was like, she kind of grew up a little bit this movie, even though she kind of was pretty much of a dick for the whole movie. And then the movie ends with, well, it doesn't end, but we then get to see the core 6 plus the extra 4, like the 10 of them, like heading out back to the golf field with their respective romantic partner, or just, someone just to hold hands with. When Lanterns, Troy and Gabriella technically have their first on-screen kiss, which is kind of, ironic, since like you assume that they've been dating like for 6 months by this point. 5 months, let's say 6 months, I'm just being fair, 6 months at this point. You assume many things would have happened by this point, considering high school stand, but considering the fact they haven't even kissed yet, I understand this is a Disney Channel show. This is a Disney Channel product. I'm assuming that they probably like, well, technically, okay, whatever. I'll take the credit. We get to see their first kiss. The sprinkler system goes on. Still doesn't stop them from having a second and third kiss. And it was kind of it was a really touching moment. And then we get to the final song in the movie where is All for One, which is not a reference to the My Hero Academia villain. It's just the name of the song, and where we get to see. It basically says like, hey, everything's fine now, everything's resolved, everything's back to normal. Let's all sing and dance somehow in this very small pool area. But I'll give them credit for what they have to work with. Miley Cyrus apparently made a cameo towards the tail end of the song, which was weird. Like, so they basically like filmed this secret cameo. I don't know how it worked. I can't really tell you. And it was a really good song. It was like to get to see this end of the movie, and kind of like seeing them. This was kind of like their final calm before like senior year begins, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really good moment. Also, last piece of trivia, not really trivia, but like last Joe moment I saw, something I would only see is like when like the movie was ending, we get to see the camera kind of pan to Troy and Gabrielle as they're in the water, and we get to see like the screen turn to black. It seemed like slowly the actors were kind of turning back into like their real life, how they would be treating in real life. Because Zac Efron was kind of like very chill about the whole thing. Just even as the Hudgens like face turned like. Wait, how long do I have to stay in the water for? That was kind of fun. That was kind of fun in my opinion, and that kind of ends the movie. So again, overall speaking, I really enjoyed this movie. I do believe there's a lot of more cringier moments for some reason, but I feel like the non-cringier moments just are way more better and just more bigger and powerful as a result. That I still prefer 2 over 1 any day of the week, even though 2 has more cringier moments than 1. I still love this movie even more. I love seeing the romantic connection between Troy and Gabriella, the antics of the Evans, and yeah, this was seeing the commodity and the unity of the Wildcats together, even beyond the high school was like was nice to see. It was a nice proper sequel, and I can't wait to see 3 again fairly soon, and I can't wait to talk about that. But at least for 2, I really enjoyed this movie. It was a blast down memory lane, and hopefully one day I'll get to have some of those moments as I saw in 2 with someone very special. But anyway, harping too much of my own love life here, or the lack of thereof. And yeah, so overall, 2 thumbs up in my book, and I think that's going to do it for me. So if you were unaware, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to know what we do overall on What's on the Tube, we usually do DC Stargirl episode reviews each and every Friday after a brand new episode on Monday on DC Universe's streaming service, and Tuesday nights on the CW, and as well you can stay tuned on that for free on Wednesdays on CW's app and .com. We are about to start Doom Patrol Season 2 episodes review at the end of the month, but we're currently doing the High School Musical reviews, kind of like branch out of the musical zone and just heading into like silly comedy aspects to whatever the Doom Patrol is going to get into when we start Season 2. And then we will also be starting up Perry Mason episode reviews each and every Monday fairly soon. That comes on HBO on Sundays, so stay tuned for those. But if you are just a High School Musical fanatic, we are going to be reviewing High School Musical 3 Senior Year next time to kind of wrap up the trilogy. That will be next week's episode review. However, if you want to see more High School Musical content right now, you can go over to youtube.com/ActionX or click the channel link below you, where you can go through our video feeds and see we have already reviewed the first movie and the entirety of the first season, and my overall review of the first season, spoiler free, as well as some Season 2 predictions I hope to see next time. But other than that, if you're unaware, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more of us, please subscribe to ActionX on YouTube. Ring the bell for notifications when we have a brand new video live. Like, favorite, share if you want to, but it does really help us out. As well as follow us on social media to be up to date on what we're planning and, any updates on video stuff. As for you High School Musical fans, I'll see you guys next time for the High School Musical 3 Senior Year review. But before I let you go, please let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of High School Musical 2? Do you love the movie? Or what was your fond memories of seeing the movie, either for the first time, or when you were a kid, or whenever you saw it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm always open to conversation down there. And I'll see you guys overall next week. Peace out.